to pack my things and leave his house, or my people and his people should prepare for a funeral.
Hello guys, welcome back to the OK Show. It has been a long break, and as always, my name is Omkoko Kenya. We have a beautiful lady on our show today. Let her introduce herself. Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Agatha Nelima, a feminist, a human rights defender, and a GBV survivor. Thank you for having me here, dear.
Long time. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Not too fine, but fine.
How is life?
Life has its challenges, but it's okay. It's good.
What do you have in store for us today on OK Show?
Today I just want to probably share my journey as a GBV survivor and as a feminist, and also as a mother to both angels on earth and in heaven.
Okay.
Thank you.
You can start. I'm really excited, by the way. Not so, let me say, is it? I'm not supposed to be that excited. Okay, but at the same time, I'm excited to hear your story because I've been following you up on Facebook, your tweets, and your work also. Yeah, so I'm really excited to hear that story, and also I hope that it's going to enlighten so many people that are watching us all over the world.
Yeah, I do hope so too. And the reason I love sharing and posting and tweeting is because I want people not to go through what I went through, and also for women who are in violent relationships to know it's okay to walk out, and it's also okay to speak and tell someone how you're really feeling. So personally, I'm 36 years old. As I said, a mother of 2 right now and 4 in heaven. Yes.
You look younger, manze. You look younger.
Really, I think I take good care of myself.
You look younger. You know, when we stand, when someone compares me with you, someone can even say I'm older than you.
Oh, wow. Okay, anyway, reason I say and I call myself a GBV survivor is because in 2017, I had gone to Uganda. I used to manage some artist called Junior Rebel. I was almost raped by police officers. I didn't share that with anyone aside from then the person who came to be my husband. Even my parents knew about it through a Facebook interview, apparently. That was my way of coming out. I kept it in for myself for so long that it really affected me and my relationship with people, especially some men who put on the uniform, police officers. Also, aside from that, the so-called love of my life, okay, he wasn't that bad, but at some point, he became really physical and emotional torture. Especially after my 3rd miscarriage, things really went off. Like, anything I would say, anything I would post would create a fight, an issue. He was, in a way, I say he was a narcissist, because to him, what he makes orders you're supposed to follow. I don't know, it's because there's this notion once someone pays your dowry, you become his property.
Okay. So let me just take you back a bit. At what age were you married?
Oh, I was married at 32. But I had my firstborn son when I was 21, 2 years after I finished my Form 4. Actually, that was the very day my virginity was broken. I will say that proudly. So ni ile siku nilienda kujaribu
Experiment. Umeenda lab maneno ikaharibika.
Yeah. Lucky or unlucky, the person never accepted the pregnancy. Actually, in his words, aliniambia nizae nitupe kwa choo.
So hurtful.
But I was lucky my mother and father adopted the boy. I always tell people, I think the statements the guy said, me and my son don't really have that mother-son connection. We never, because to him I was like, to me I always feel like, was it a mistake? What did I do wrong? But lucky enough, my parents came in. The boy actually has my dad's details on his birth certificate.
That's really nice.
He's mine by birth, but at times I feel like he's more of that kid brother than my son. But right now, I feel the vibe is coming. The mother-son connection is slowly coming up. I also have a daughter who's 9 years old. My relationship with the dad is not that good.
So let us go back to this marriage. After you getting married at the age of 32, your dowry was paid?
My introduction was done in November, 11th November of 2017. 6 months later, my dowry was paid. And for me, I think that's when all hell broke loose. I think this other time it was honeymoon stage or whatever they call it. Yes. But after my dowry was paid, he literally changed.
To something else.
To me, he literally now stopped being the man I fell in love with. Because he would pick an issue with anything. I think you follow me on Facebook. Yeah, I'm a very open person. I love sharing. Okay, I think I share. I don't know, I share a lot, but for me, I feel Facebook is a platform for me to really express how I am and how I feel without lying. I don't know how to. I don't have chills.
Yeah,
I think.
Can't sugarcoat anything.
I don't know how to sugarcoat. If I'm pissed, I'm pissed. If I'm happy, I am happy.
I just have a question. When you were dating, while you were dating, or when you were dating back then, almost getting married, what were you looking for? Or what did you say in that man that you decided that I'm going to marry this man? And after that, you are seeing something else. After dowry payment, you are seeing something totally different from what you bargained for while wanting to buy that item.
Actually, for me, I think we dated for a very short period of time. But to me, getting into the marriage and getting into the relationship, I felt I had found a friend. Because previously we would share a lot. He would guide me on what to do, what not to do. So for me, I felt, finally, I have found a man who understands me and doesn't judge. Because remember, he isn't the father of my kids. They are kids who have different dads. So for me, I was like, finally, I have found a friend. And actually, I think I considered him more of a friend than even my husband. Because I used to see him as, and I think a cousin of mine once told me, marry your friend. Don't get married to. If you want a lasting relationship, marry your friend. So for me, I felt like I had found my friend. But my friend turned out to be something else.
So what happened? Give us the hot soup, the story, yeah?
Okay, personally, in between, we stayed together for 3 years. And in the 3 years, remember, I had 4 miscarriages. For me, I think when the miscarriages happened, I don't know, though I still grieve for the kids till now, but I think my whole life turned to asking myself so many questions about why the miscarriages are happening, what am I doing that is wrong. I even asked myself, who did I wrong that has now come back to punish me in this way? But aside from that, his friendships. For me, I always say, and I will always say, his friendships messed up our marriage. Because remember, he's a married man. His reason I'm saying his friendships, he has friends who are single women. Drinks with them a lot, parties with them a lot, and imagine you being a married woman, you're in your home, but someone calls you and is like, hey, yeah, where are you? Innocently, you'll say where you are.
Yeah.
Then comes the statement, by the way, I've seen your husband with so and so, so and so, and so and so, and where are you?
Yeah.
But anytime I would caution that, I would become the problem. How I'm jealous, how
You're supposed to be jealous. Okay, from my knowledge of love, you're supposed to be jealous. Actually, a little bit jealous. Because you love that person.
how I don't like. Actually, I think I was told I hate, and to some point I was called a victim of bipolar. But I don't understand, because I remember there's a point I asked, you've asked me to quit my friendships with either guys and women who are single. And because I think for me, I really wanted the marriage, because anything he would say, I would do. So I even had to cut a friendship that was a childhood friendship for me. She's a lady I considered a sister. But simply because my so-called husband wasn't comfortable with the relationship because she's single, I called my friend and was like, hey, how are you? I actually just relayed it like direct. My husband isn't comfortable with our friendship. We are not stopping being friends, but I think we have limits. My friend obliged, apparently. But Omukoko, the same person telling me to quit single friends, is the same person hanging with single friends till 6 in the morning.
Doing what and you are a married man? Okay, I'm not married yet, but I think, or maybe from my own perspective, marriage is a bed of roses. Maybe something of sort.
Darling, marriage is not a bed of roses, and I'm lucky I went into that marriage knowing not everything is going to be a smooth ride. Or maybe I was too jealous, or maybe I loved him so much. For me, I think that was my greatest weakness. I love, when I love, and when I hate, oh God, I hate. I loved him so much, and for the first year, I think We probably didn't know each other that much. At times it makes me feel we rushed into the marriage. But again, I also say, for me it was nice. The 3 years were a lesson. I know the next relationship I go into, communication is of the essence. Because at first I used to go with what he says. Him and his friends are into politics a bit. So most of the time that was the cover-up thing. We are meeting this politician for this and this. So the first times I used to say, okay, cool, it's just a normal meeting. Then probably they decide to hang out and have a drink. But it became a norm. To an extent, I had suffered a miscarriage. I was to visit a gynecologist. I was to go with him. But he woke up and told one of his so-called friends to take me to the gynecologist.
Really?
Yes. I didn't deny, I didn't refuse, because personally, among his friends, the same one I went to visit the gynecologist with was someone I had also known as a friend. Yeah. So she was the only one we had a connection as friends. But to me, I felt that was wrong.
And what were you doing in between when your mind started clicking that what is happening is wrong, a bit wrong, but I love this man at the same time?
Okay, anytime I used to talk, it would either get physical or he stops talking to me. Like he starts up a silent war in the house. So I think I got to a point of the only thing I told him, it seems I am not a priority. They are your priority. So at that point, I had shared with another friend of mine, and the friend advised I give myself a break of like 2 weeks to really sit down and think about everything. But coincidentally, the same time all this was happening, I got lucky to be picked to be a GBV champion in Busia County, representing Bunyala. So that same period of giving myself 2 weeks, we were starting 16 days of activism. So I was like, this is great. The 2 weeks I'll be out of Budalangi and in Busia, it will give me time to really think further. But a day to the 16 days of activism, he asked me, he didn't grab my phone, he asked me for my phone. So I was like, maybe he doesn't have credit or he doesn't have data he wants to.
Right.
So I unlocked my phone and gave it to him and went out to continue doing my normal things. I was cleaning because I had not been in the house for a day or two. So I was like, before I sleep and get lazy, let me first wash, do everything, then now relax. I didn't know. All this time I was outside, he was going through my phone. When I finished, I was getting into the house. He told me to pack my things and leave his house, or my people and his people should prepare for a funeral. And I think for me that was just a turning point. So literally I packed everything.
You didn't argue, you didn't question, like, okay, why
I was
everything?
like, listen, I packed. But in between the packing and was like, no, why am I leaving? So I packed everything, but I packed a separate bag for clothes that I will need for 2 weeks. Remember, I was to go for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But in between all this, I was like, you, if you want, you took me because you formally took me from my parents' place. So if you want me to go, you didn't pick me up somewhere on the roadside. Please take me back to my parents the way you took me away from there. So it's like, actually, I'm not going anywhere. He took my phone and left. What I did is, I know my brother's and my mother's number off head and my father's. I tried getting hold of my dad. He was off. Lucky enough, I took a neighbor's phone, put credit, and called my mom. And I was like, A, B, C, D, and E has happened.
Yeah.
My mom, with all those cultural stuff, was like, actually, if you want, let him throw you things outside. Don't carry anything aside from the clothes you will need for 2 weeks. Don't carry anything. And I was like, yeah, mom, I will leave, but I will only leave on conditions I get my phone. I stayed there the whole night. I didn't sleep. I was kind of scared, I think. He came back the next day at around 11. And the first thing he did is he handed me over my phone. Once I got hold of my phone, I carried my clothes for 2 weeks and left.
No talking.
I didn't say anything. I left. I went home, slept for a day. Then the next day I was off to Busia. But I think, I don't know, I am just me. For the 2 weeks I was in Busia, it was the last day that even my colleagues really knew what was going on. I was normal. I was doing my work. But on the last day, I now get messages how I lie that I'm coming for seminars in Busia, but I have men in Busia. Some of the men are people I consider my mentors. Some are people I consider my brothers because they are way younger than me. So I'm like, how can I even have a thing?
So he literally went on saying the names of the men that you have in Busia.
Yeah, some were mentioned, some were not mentioned. But to me, I was like, oh, okay, cool. We're going that route. I can now. So for me, that was a point I really became angry and told him, actually, I have been getting so many calls and things about you. But for me, I was like, when you get married, even your relatives, not everyone will be happy.
Yeah.
So for me, most of the calls, I would listen, but not act. Yeah, there are some I would explode about, but most of the times I used to violently go, I think, and lash out to my mom. Because my mom would always say, you Namrembos, you're loud.
Yeah.
So at times, even when I'm the one hurt, and you talk to someone, you will be told, he's a teacher. So you'll be told, my Mwalimu is a very quiet guy. You, Namrembo. Man, our clan messes us up. You're like, you Namrembos, you guys are on another level.
Yeah, so he's not on the wrong, you're the one.
Yeah, so
on the wrong side.
I got to getting attacked so many times, even when I'm the one hurting. I got to a point of even asking my own mother, how many times have you ever asked me how I feel? Not even about this marriage issue, but about, because I remember our fight started when I started talking about the miscarriages. For him, he said, I am putting our personal life out there for everyone. And I'm like, when someone is pregnant, for how long can you hide a pregnancy?
Not so long.
So it's the same way. Once you've had a pregnancy, then after a few months, you're not pregnant anymore. There are two things. You've either aborted or you've lost the pregnancy. And for me, I never used to talk about my miscarriages to get sympathy from anyone. I think that was just my way of venting out. But I'm glad in between my writings, I found a mother and a friend. She's from the UK. She had a miscarriage, gave birth to a premature baby who died and a premature baby who survived. So she understood I think she felt my pain.
Yeah.
She kept encouraging me to never stop writing and talking about the losses. To an extent, I remember she had organized a talk like this one. But hours to the interview, she's based in the UK, hours to the Zoom meeting, I think I shared the poster on my WhatsApp status and on my Facebook page. My ex-husband, even when we were married, was never my friend on Facebook. That was an agreement we had. So I don't know who or what happened. I remember I was out of the house. I was like, I need to buy dinner early before. I can cook later, but I need to just be ready so that when the interview starts, and I remember I was in the market when I got the text, if you dare do that interview, you won't like what will happen. So I was like, it's a normal talk. It's a talk about miscarriages. What?
Your experiences.
And
your
I've had
reactions.
miscarriages, so what is wrong with that? It got to a point of him sharing that conversation with my dad. So my dad was like, don't do it. And I'm a daddy's girl, so I was like, I called the woman, we talked, and she was like, okay, cool. If he's not comfortable, let us not trigger a war. She understood. So she shared my story, what she knew. Actually, it was the main point of the discussion, but without me, the person, to give it out. And I was like, okay, so this is my own way of sharing my grief and how I feel. If I cannot do this, then what can I do? So from then I started, like, I got to a point of, okay, you do you, let me do what makes me happy. He got to a point of always drinking. Like, I will not call him a party animal, but he used to drink, and anytime he comes home and you're like, I need money for this, he would answer he doesn't have. And I'm like, okay, you don't have money for me, but you have money for drinking. In between this whole thing, when I had my last miscarriage, the mother called me a barren woman and told me I give out my pregnancies to Jezebel. I don't know, till today, I don't understand the meaning of that. But in my head, I was like, I am not married to your mother, but you said nothing.
He didn't protect you. He didn't say anything while you were being abused.
Personally, for me, I remember, even when I had was it a second miscarriage? Someone told me, don't you think these miscarriages might not be your problem because we know you have kids? It might be your husband. I shut the person up. And I'm like, doctors said there was some help. Okay, I think I tried lying or covering it up.
Yeah, or love.
Or love. And I was like, yeah, love is stupid. And I was
love
like,
is a wonderful thing. Someone said that.
yeah, it's good. Love is great. I remember a day to my miscarriage, to my dowry payment. Someone told me, Agatha, I will not say I'm not happy. I'm happy you're getting married. And I'm actually happy he's coming to take you formally. But my darling, the guy loves women.
Wow. That was just a person from nowhere, or maybe a friend of yours?
It's someone I know. I cannot necessarily say we are that close. We're friends, but not friends.
Yeah. So you were like, oh,
I was like,
that person is just jealous.
No, actually, I turned and told her all men are cheats.
Why all men are cheats? Is it something that you believe in?
Okay, I think I just wanted to cut the story short, and I was like, actually, even here in the village, you guys have constantly been saying I'm a liar. So I think malaya wawili, actually that's what I answered. Malaya wawili, wamefanya nini? Wamepatana. And she was like, don't take it in bad faith. I wish you the very best. She never talked about it again until later when she heard I am back home. And she came, I think, to rub it in my face. Yeah. Chick, I told you. And I was like, okay, shit happens.
So hurtful. Okay, where did she get the nerves to just come? Okay, I'm from a broken marriage and you're coming.
No, I think
rubbing it into my face.
People will tell you anything they want to say.
People
are hurtful. Me, I keep telling people, I am not happy. My marriage got ruined at 3 years. I still sit and ask myself, my dad and mom have been together for 40 years. Didn't they go through all this shit? But probably, maybe what they say, this generation of ours hatujui kuvumilia.
Don't say that. You know, there is this norm.
Personally, I cannot vumilia someone who lays hands on me.
Yeah.
And I think for me, if it would have been a cheating scandal, I would have probably said he knows, probably with the miscarriages, he wants to see if he can get a kid from outside. But him getting to a point of putting his hands on me, for me, that was... I know.
So what really happened that were you the one who decided to walk out of the marriage, or he forced you? What really happened?
For me, it was not my decision. For me, I always say I was forced to walk out. Because remember, when he threatened me and asked me to pack, that was not my decision.
Yeah.
Actually, for me, that evening, I was planning to tell him I need 2 weeks away to see if I'm the problem or you're the problem, or we just can't work this out. Okay. He made the decision. I just obliged. But sitting down, I don't regret.
So after being sent messages while you were in Busia for a GBV activist, something of sort, after being sent the messages by your ex, being told that you are seeing these men and these men and these men, you never went back to... That is how your marriage ended, or how did
actually, that 22nd of November 2020, when I walked out, I never went back.
You even remember the date. You're
Yeah.
so good at recalling. Okay, they
I
say
am
women are good at that.
we keep tabs. They say we keep tabs, but for me, November has been a special month because it is the same November that my introduction was done. So, for me, it will be a heartful month, but at the same time, a special month for me. But since that day I left, I never went back. Because in between that November and December, a lot was said, both the good and the bad.
Okay, how did you cope up with life and how was his reaction? Because maybe he was bitter. Let's start with your reaction first.
For me, I think what helped me was the activities I was doing by then. So, personally, my mind even got away from the marriage stuff. I focused on what I was doing and sharing and hearing stories from other women and rescuing other women gave me comfort that I am not in this alone. Lucky enough, I have two people. They are both younger than me, but to me, they are the most important people in my life. They are my best friends. One is from Uganda. He's called Joseph Samanda, and Nelly Asere.
I know Nelly Asere.
Those two constantly knew, as in there are people even till today. I will post something and I will literally tell you, she's okay, she's not okay. For them, they took time to really listen, empathize with me, and not judge. Because I had so many of my relatives telling me how I jumped into conclusions, how I am the bad one.
Okay, and how did your parents treat you? Did they tell you, Agatha, rudi kwa bwana, you know our society and African parents.
I will not lie, till today, my mom still calls my ex-husband the in-law. Though at times she feels my pain, but she also has, remember the society we have been raised in. I am a woman whose dowry was paid. So, and for me at times, I really feel hurt. I really feel I am hurting my parents by being at home. But in a way, I feel I am safe. Because either way, my mom will still say, she's my daughter. And I think I always tell them, I'd rather be here than you saying you had a daughter.
Yeah, exactly. And there is a saying I know of, they always say it's good to, it is better or it's good to come back.
It's better to have a divorced daughter than a daughter in a coffin.
Thank you. That is what I was looking for.
So for me, my story is so long, I think we should.
You should tell us one of your ex and how is it going? How many years have you been out of marriage right now? How is the going?
When it gets to November of this year, it will be 2 years.
2 years. And
but I feel his reaction, I would say, I feel he's so bitter. Because remember, in that span of 2 years, I have grown myself. I have found comfort in speaking about miscarriages, about rape, about violence boldly without being scared of who will feel intimidated, who will not find it okay.
Yeah.
But I think he's bitter, very bitter. Actually, not him. Even his so-called friends, they are women from Bunyala. I won't get scared of saying that. But I feel for him, he's bitter. Though he keeps saying I'm the one who's bitter, and I don't know how I am bitter, because I am not ready to jump into a relationship. And I don't know why people think when a woman who's out of a marriage moves on, he or she has to be seeing someone else.
Thank you. That thing should change.
Moving on doesn't mean jumping into a new relationship. Moving on is loving myself more, focusing on doing what I love. Like now, I intend to start the Nelima Foundation.
That's nice.
Which will be a voice for the girl child in Bunyala. I want to let girls know, no matter what you go through in life, you can still be someone. You can still make something out of yourself. And also, we are partnering with some 2 guys from Nairobi to start a community radio still to talk about issues.
Count me in. Count me in. I have a passion for this radio thing. So I just have this question. One question. What can you tell the women or the men or the male or men going through this thing? You know, also men get violated, by the way.
Yeah, and apparently that is something people don't know.
Yeah, so what can you tell them?
Kuna
wanafinyiliwa maisha huko nje. What can you tell them? Maybe
may I always say there is no shame in walking out. If you feel you cannot handle, go away.
Kaende tembea.
Okay, the verbal arguments will be there. But instead of it going to an extent of you committing murder, it's not worth, that person is not worth you being in jail. Walk away. Life goes on. May I tell people it's 2 years, and these 2 years I feel I have done something for myself.
Than the 3 years you were in marriage.
Yeah, because remember, before getting married, I used to be a volunteer at Action Aid. That is in Nairobi. I'm getting married to someone who works at Budalangi High School. And my mother is an advocate of a wife cannot stay in Nairobi and a husband this other side.
Long distance relationship.
Mm-hmm. So I had to let everything go and come up for marriage.
But I think that
itself is the biggest mistake I ever did.
That itself is wrong.
And remember, I'm passionate about activism. So these 3 years, for me, I gave up my life for a marriage. I gave up myself for him. And the reason I think maybe I would say I feel betrayed, I feel hurt, is I feel he never appreciated that. But I'm also happy because the 3 years I knew it was not all that bad. That is something I will always say.
Yeah,
they were the good times.
Yeah.
And right now, if I ever get someone to get married to, I know the do's and don'ts.
By the way, just before we wind up, can you tell us what maybe there's some people watching us and they're wondering, so what can I look in a man when I want to get married, or what can I look for in a lady? Maybe you can just give us a rough.
I think we should stop looking at the outside. This outside looks zinatudanganya.
Okay.
For me personally, right now, I would want a man who listens, who understands, and who cannot. I don't know how many men cannot hit a woman, but I would want someone who really understands me and takes me for me. Because if you feel threatened by what I post on social media, it's social media. I can just wake up, probably I'm not even feeling what I'm posting. But if you judge me with that, why? I would want someone who, if I'm wrong, you tell me, hey babes, hapa nayo ulichoma. Like, and for him, honestly, I would mess up and it comes a text. So you're like, half my marriage was spent on SMSs.
Wow.
Yeah, we were communicating on SMSs.
Even in the house?
Even in the house.
Okay, that is somehow funny. Forgive me for...
It is funny, even myself, I find it. I want someone we can have those conversations.
Yeah. But why were you blind not saying that? Is it love or something?
I think it was love, or probably I just wanted to get married. I don't know.
Or was there this societal pressure or family pressure now that you are at 32?
Family never, no one had even ever asked me, when are you getting married? No one.
Okay.
I think to an extent, I was telling my mom, yo, they're coming for introduction. At first, everyone thought I'm
joking.
I'm joking.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, these guys are coming on 11th. Actually, my brothers traveled from Nairobi and got here the introduction day in the morning. Because to them, their sister was joking.
Yeah.
But I also think for now, if I want to get married, I will take my time. Let's get to know, even if we stay together, let's stay together, learning each other.
Yeah.
If I make a mistake, tell me. Don't furia me because you don't want to make me feel hurt. Yeah. Speak it out.
Okay, can you tell us your social so that people watching this, maybe there is a person who cannot reach us or that person cannot share her story as you have done so, and that person wants to reach you. How can that person reach you? Maybe one of your social media page.
I think I can give all. I am Nelima Agathos on Facebook. I am Princess Nelima on Instagram. My Twitter handle is Noel Agatha 2. Actually, I think Twitter is the only place I use my formal names.
Okay.
Yeah. And anyone who needs to talk, especially a GBV, someone going through any GBV, any form of GBV, I will willingly listen and not judge and help out where I can.
Thank you so much. What can you tell those people who are seeing us as we wind up our show?
It is okay to speak out. It's no shame going back. I'm bold and happy to say I am back in my father's house. If I get married at 45 or if I never get married again, at least God knows I tried. So, there is no shame in speaking out. To our viewers, whatever you're going through, there are so many ways to express how you feel. You can paint, you can write, you can tell your story, you can sing. Those are ways to make you feel better. And always find that one person you can speak to, no matter where the person is.
You have heard. Thank you so much for staying tuned, and it is not wrong to speak, and it is also not wrong to go back than being returned home in a casket. Thank you so much for watching, and kindly subscribe if at all you haven't subscribed, and let us meet next time. My name is Omkoko Kenya.